Hey guys, Pavise here with a bit of a different kind of upload. You see, a year ago on this channel, I uploaded a video called This Channel is About to Change. Before that, I hadn't uploaded, I think, in a year plus. The channel was mainly dead, and I decided to return and make new types of content, which I'm sure you've been seeing over the past year. But it's been that, a year. And I think it will be really interesting to take a look back of the channel's kind of evolution over this year in terms of what I was uploading, the analytics and all that stuff, to really go over how the channel has changed, where it's going in the future, and kind of like, take some learnings. I'm a relatively small channel. I'm not a big boy. So when small channels pivot, or a channel of my size pivots to new things, I think there's a lot of learnings that maybe other smaller creators or creators out there can maybe take away from this. So let's take a look. All right, so this is the channel as it is right now. You can probably tell when I'm recording this, and based on, the uploads that are visible on your screen. But it's a pretty good snapshot of what the channel looks like nowadays. You've got a mix of YouTube plays Fire Emblem VODs, chat plays Fire Emblem VODs. I keep changing the name of the damn thing, even though we're 18 chapters into the game. You've got the highlights as well, what Fire Emblem does to an MF, ambush spawns be like. You got some random shitposts sprinkled in there, the Homelander and Walter White ones. They were a lot of fun to make. They were very much just jokes I wanted to make. I wasn't expecting these to do crazy, but those are always fun to make. I always sprinkle them in. And then, of course, you got the tier lists, usually with some form of me emoting or pushing my glasses up. And I think that's a good summation of what I'm uploading recently. You've got the YouTube plays from the highlights, the VODs and streams themselves, the tier lists, and the shitposts. And that's I try to keep them rotating in terms of variety. But this is not what the channel looked like a year ago. In fact, let's take a trip down memory lane here and go to the bottom of this page. This is what my channel used to look like, what I used to upload, right? Video essays, very basic, simple thumbnails and titles, very by the book, very kind of straight and narrow type of stuff here. But yeah, I was a video essay person. That's what I uploaded. And I did this, you can see this is getting on 5 years ago now, a long time. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, this is when I was uploading the most. But obviously, this is a very different channel than the channel that exists today. I was uploading once every few weeks to once a month, in that range. That's when I uploaded. But, for the time and size of my channel, I found success pretty fast with this format. And I had a lot to say, a lot to write about. But as we move up, the gap between uploads continues to increase. We'll get to this video in a moment, but you can see the gap is starting to increase here. Playing to Fail and Fire Emblem Characters You Never Knew Existed were kind of the two last essays or long-form content that I made here. I think this one now getting on 2 years ago was the final one, probably closer to 3 years now. You can tell back then I was doing some streams. I did do it. I did have a series where I played Fire Emblem Awakening live. That's what it was called, Fire Emblem Awakening Live. And, there's some stream highlights here. I was doing some hero streams. It was very much a side thing, though. The main focus was the video essays and that type of content. But I'd say at around the point we get to Rise and Fall of Fire Emblem manga, I'm really not that into doing this format anymore. I've gone through most of my ideas I want to talk about with Fire Emblem. Nothing really new is coming to mind. And the channel, you can see this is 4 years ago, this video. This one's 2 years ago. Over the course of 2 years, I only uploaded 3 or 4 videos. The channel was very much dead and mostly inactive. Until 11 months ago, this is about to tick to a year, I think, in a week. We're on like 51 weeks now. I upload this video. This channel is about to change. Let's take a quick little peek at this. I'll mute it, though. Hey, look at that guy. Hey, look at what he's up to. I was so nervous doing this video. You can even tell it in the way I talk and, my intonation. I hadn't really found my presence on camera. Most of my content, again, was behind the mic. I did a few streams, but yeah. And I say a lot of stuff in this video. If you want to go watch it, you can. In it, I talk about how I'm switching to a streaming format. I do mention Fire Emblem here, but I'm saying the essays are done. I'm doing stream now and stream highlights. Well, I guess maybe I should explain why I switched to this style of content. It's what I felt like making. I think that's the best way to make YouTube or do it consistently is to make stuff you want to make and not force yourself to do stuff you don't want to. Video essays, I had to force myself to make those. Streaming content and streams, I was watching a lot of it. I mean, my inspirations are pretty obvious, I think. I'd say Ludwig and Atriarch, primary ones. I was watching them a ton. And I was really into what they were doing and their streams, and primarily their highlights, because I didn't watch their streams that often, to be fair. I mainly kept up through the highlights. And I really loved the kind of sense of community that they built, the inside jokes, the fun that they had with the chat. And it's something that I definitely thought I could do or bring a unique angle to. That's what I came into this thinking that I would be able to do. My focus was much more general, though. It was not specific whatsoever. I was very thinking of this of general playing games, whatever variety. But let's take a look. Let's go back to the channel. As you can see, this channel is about to change. My first stream, oh, this is a throwback. Fire Emblem, but it's a fighting game. It was like a Fire Emblem. I don't know if y'all know Mugen. This video is insane, by the way. I still think this video is fire. This is what I returned with. I think that stream had 40, 30 viewers in it. I think that's what the viewer count was. I'd have to go look at the stats. I started off with Fire Emblem because I knew most of my subscribers was Fire Emblem. I want to start off with Fire Emblem. But as you can see, I tried a lot of different stuff here in these early days. We've got how do you become a game designer. We got a Squid Game video. We've got an indie co-op video with Bizmix. I was trying a few things that I hadn't tried before. As you can see, though, they didn't really perform. How to become a game designer, 500 views. Best co-op game you never played, 500 views. Squid Game in 50 words or less, again, 500 views. The channel was not popping off, let's say. The first hit I had in terms of the new content was I ranked every quick quote. I always say quick quote by accident, but I ranked every quick quote in Fire Emblem Awakening. That was the first stream and video that actually performed very well. Actually, let me get up the stats for that stream. There we go, found it. This is the VOD for the Awakening crit quote video. As you can see, it peaked at 40 viewers. For those of you who are in the recent tier list streams, what was it? That was consistently at 250. So a lot of growth over that time. But this is where was my starting point. And this was the first stream that performed well. There were some struggle streams in there. The Trail Mix stream with Bizmix, me playing just games with Bizmix, you can see here, peaked at 12 viewers. Nintendo Direct Reaction stream, that peaked at 15. Again, the numbers I'm putting up nowadays, I wasn't even close. I will say it outright. The pivot was rough. Even when I was doing live streams back in the video essay days, those would consistently hit probably like 50 to 100 viewers. Going back to the videos, though, of that Awakening video, interesting viewer chart here. In the first day, it did 600 views, so better than anything I'd uploaded up to that point. And in the first like 10 days, it had hit like 2,000-ish views, which was my first video in this kind of stage to really do well on like release. Nowadays, 2,000 views over the first 10 days is on the lower end of my views, but this was definitely on the higher end at this point in time in terms of rebooting the channel. As you can see, this video still does well. It still gets views to this day, 200 in the last like 48 hours. In fact, there's probably many of you in the chat or in the comments that this was one of the videos that helped you find the channel in the first place. When this video did well, it really did get me thinking about gaps in the Fire Emblem, market, if you will. And a lot of tier lists when it comes to Fire Emblem, they're very focused on the gameplay. Very much like, is this unit good? Is this unit better than this unit? Is this skill good? Is that skill good? Like, it's very gameplay focused. And I noticed there was a very clear gap here in terms of people ranking stuff that weren't really pertinent to gameplay. Stuff like crit quotes, death quotes, animations, all that stuff, all the kind of fluff and flavor around the core game that people really connect with. Like, people love crit quotes. They love the animations in these games, but there wasn't really any content ranking them. And I thought that was a very clear gap. And also, I suck at Fire Emblem. I'm fucking trash. Like, I cannot make a unit tier list for my life. It would be abhorrent. It'd be so bad. So I thought, what can I do? What is there a gap for? And that's really where this stream kind of took off, or this idea and this tier list format started to perform well on the channel, which I'm very happy with. So after that, I kind of switched my pivot. I pivoted back to Fire Emblem, basically. I very much initially said, okay, Fire Emblem will be here, but it won't be the focus. But then I switched, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll focus on Fire Emblem, and I think it was the right call. I'll be transparent in the future. I definitely want to branch out and do other games. I don't want to be stuck in Fire Emblem as a category. I'll be very straight with that. But I wasn't used to this form of content. So I think it was the right call to familiarize myself with how to run a stream, how to do all this stuff, come up with new ideas in the context of Fire Emblem, which I'm very familiar with creating content for. I think that was the right call. I don't play Fire Emblem very much outside the channel. I'll be honest with that. I really don't. The only time I play Fire Emblem or talk about Fire Emblem is mainly on this channel. And you can probably see that reflected in the type of content I make too. But yeah, this was the focus of the channel in the early days. I started really trying to focus on topics that weren't really explored before. I also dabbled in another video essay here. You can see here, I've messed with this thumbnail and title a lot. But I made a video essay on Fire Emblem music, which I definitely think you should check out. That didn't do as well as my old essays, but I really didn't mind. The thing about this essay, it was a passion project. I wanted to make it. So regardless of how it performed, I was happy. I just wanted to release it, and if any people found it entertaining, I would be happy. And people did. I think this is one of my best video essays by far. But you can see the shift, though, in the content here. I'm trying new concepts. I also tried out shitposts for the first time on this channel. You can only side with one, and the choices you make here last forever. These were videos that performed much better than anything I had uploaded up to that point. Even though like this Awakening tier list or these other tier lists have since surpassed them in view counts, at the time, these blew past anything I'd ever made and made me realize that like Fire Emblem shitposts or this type of content is a great way to reach people. It's not a guaranteed conversion into subs. By no means. People watch shitposts and they leave. That's what they do. But if YouTube notes that they watch something on this channel, YouTube might in the future decide, hey, I'm going to show this channel that they watched a video from this channel. I'm going to show them something else from this channel. And that's where I find you can find conversions, or where you can turn that shit posting into stuff, especially if they see a shit post, but then YouTube might show them maybe one of my other videos. Something like YouTube Plays Fire Emblem, something like a tier list maybe. It might show them that. And that's where I can then get the conversion into maybe a subscription or something else. It's a way to get the foot in the door. And I very much realized it with these two videos. And then we have the behemoth that is YouTube Plays Fire Emblem. So those of you who don't know, there is a hidden first episode of YouTube Plays Fire Emblem. This was the test and technical run of YouTube Plays Fire Emblem. All right. This is now, I think, privated, unlisted. This was where I did a trial run of the system in the early game. As you can see, during this stream, we peaked at 34 viewers. And then that's wild to think about this in YouTube Plays Fire Emblem today. YouTube Plays Fire Emblem now sits at about 130 to 150 consistently. That's a whole 100 viewers more in that time frame, which is honestly awesome. Now, when it came to the actual first episode of the series, this was the VOD. And as you can see here, we again are looking at similar viewership, 33 to 24 people. Like these are the days of the membership times 3 odds. These are the days of like getting rolled maybe like 5 or 6 times guaranteed if you were in chat. These are the early days of the playthrough. And honestly, these streams were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun. Even with a smaller audience here, like of 30-ish people, this stuff was honestly like, it was an absolute blast. But where things really got interesting was when I turned these streams into highlights. And the 9-turn premonition, I remember I uploaded this video. How well did it did? I think it did like 1,000 views in a day. Yeah, in the first 2 days, it did 1,000 views. And I realized I was onto something here. This is coming from a framework of I've restarted the channel entirely. All right. Usually on my old essays, I would easily get these views, but I was trying something very new. And this, like 1,000 views in the first 2 days, that was a big deal for me at the time. In terms of, I'd never gotten that much viewership that rapidly. And I kept going. I kept doing them and doing them. I think this video here just called, wow. This video, I think, did even better. This video did 1.6K in the first day. Again, I hadn't done any numbers like that before on this type of content. And I just knew there is something here in terms of how I'm branding this and people watching it, because the retention on this is also pretty solid. Again, 90% or 88% of people still in the first 30 seconds, which is great. Still about over half of the people still watching by the 3-minute mark. I realized there's something here. There's something here. And, you know, I just kept at it. And you can see here, there's also some other highlights in here, some other streams. But YouTube placed Fire Emblem very much just out of nowhere, just took over the channel. When I started this run, I didn't know if I'd keep going. I didn't know if the concept would resonate. But clearly enough people really loved it and they kept showing up. Another thing that was wild is that the tier list streams also did very well during this time. What was this? I ranked every quick quote on Fire Emblem Fates. How did that video do? All right, here we go. Let's rank Fire Emblem Fates quick quotes. This one hit 60 viewers. Again, these are peaks for me. I hadn't hit these numbers before in terms of the reboot. So hitting 60, that was a big deal at the time. 60 viewers over the course of a stream, ranking quick quotes. That was awesome. But there was an ultimate tipping point. There was a video that pretty much made the channel what it was, and that is Fire Emblem as God intended. This is the point where it all changed. Here is a chart of my subscribers over the past 365 days. As you can see, when I uploaded that video saying things were going to change, I immediately lost like 50-ish subs, and I kept losing subs. Going into October, going into November, I started even out. Even into December, I was consistently losing or treading water. And then, bam, right here, early February, Tuesday the 8th, 100 subscribers in a single day. What video got uploaded? Fire Emblem as God intended. This is the video that really, again, launched the channel in terms of what it is today. And I'd say this phase of the channel right here, these about 5 to 4 videos really shaped how I want to go forward with the channel. In here, you've got a quick quote tier list performing very well. You've got a shitpost, you've got a highlight, and you got a stream VOD. And a stream highlight right after here. And the views all of a sudden got a tick higher. Everything that I was uploading, just YouTube started to show it to people. And again, it's because people saw this video and I uploaded content like it on a regular basis. And then from there, things just got a lot better. You can see here, though, there's still some experimentation that didn't go too well, or it did all right. 1K views on that's all right. But that's really what the channel from that point on over the last 6 months has looked like. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that's happened, I'd say, in those last 6 months in terms of videos that have done really well. Like the ranking every quick quote in 3 houses, 40K views, awesome. Again, that game is what, 3 years old? Shitposts in here. What else is in here? Eminem dies to 1% crit. Will Smith playing Fire Emblem, 69K, nice. 41K on this Eminem shitpost. Like, stuff just started going, crazy and wild in terms of the viewer count. And the biggest thing was that it got consistent. I could always rely on a base viewership of about 2 to 3K people to always show up. And when I made a good title on thumbnail, I could expect those videos to reach an even bigger audience. Like Maribel Warclare Experience, 20K views. What else is in here? Fire Emblem's Greatest Weapon, 17K. Fire Emblem's Broken, 23K. All of a sudden, the kind of scale and scope of the viewership just got a lot higher. But also, I think there's a lot of lessons here in terms of to keep at it. Ultimately, this iteration of the channel is not too far from, this iteration of the channel. But as you can see, there's incremental changes, tweaks over time, learning what hits, what doesn't hit, until it becomes a little more refined. And I kind of find my footing on how I like to title things, name things, thumbnails. I didn't necessarily do them the right way the first time, okay? Crazy shit posts that went wild. Fire Emblem Dancers Be Like, 162K views. That technically is the video over the last year that I've uploaded that got the most views, which is very funny that that's what did it. But You know, again, these shitposts, these small things can sometimes really pop off. And look, I'm not expecting 162K people to subscribe after watching that video. But if even a fraction decide to check out other videos, or if even a fraction get recommended another video, that's still a lot of people being exposed to the channel that weren't before. At least that's how I see it. And that really brings us into the modern day. The biggest change now, I'd say, is I no longer edit my videos. I've now offset that to somebody else. Shout out to Scarf, who has been doing the YouTube Plays Fire Emblem highlights. In my opinion, editing better than even I was. That was a series I was very scared to hand off the editing to because they very much had a style to them that I put myself into. Scarf has absolutely killed it. Taken it, made their own style, new introductions, changes. They're a lot smoother. Still capture all this great stuff. And honestly, it's been a massive boon for the channel. It means I'm able to stream a lot more, put a lot more energy into the channel or onto the streams and not the editing. Shoutouts also to That One Splatoon for editing also some of the tier lists and videos in here. Eat every last one of them they edited. All the Risa highlights, they've been on the editing of those. Also a huge help in here. My boy Rando, my boy Tyler, absolutely killing it on the early days in the tier lists. I couldn't do this without their help, and it's so awesome. I really think, though, the channel has reached a new level of coming into its own over the past couple of months, though. I'd say past couple of months is where the streams have gotten a lot more consistent, and the community has just really come together to do some awesome stuff. Whether it's just fan stuff like this was done by Scarf, but good by Gregor, that type of thing. The comic, the charity streams. We raised $10,000 this year. That's crazy. We did that. That happened this year. And you know, there's still a lot to come. 15K subs. We hit 15K. There's just so much awesome already over this past year. So many awesome memories, awesome stuff. Just wow. And I think it's reflected in the analytics. My viewership upon rebooting the channel. Let's take a look. About 300 to 200, 600, in the hundreds per day. With occasional dips to like 1K days when I had a good upload. Again, 600, 800, ticking up. In November and December, I saw a bit more success with some shit posts, but you can see the baseline here is 500 to like a couple thousand, never really passing 2K. Just keeping at it. And after 3-4 months, it still wasn't paying off very much. And then all it took, one video. This point of time, by the way, is I think when I uploaded 2 shit posts that did well, and Fire Emblem Was God Intended, that highlight popped off. And then all of a sudden, this number barely dips below 1K ever. Like, has it even dipped below 1K at any point? I don't think so. And that really shows you kind of a little glimpse into how YouTube works, right? Because the way I like to think about YouTube videos is you're constantly striking matches against the YouTube algorithm, right? Sometimes even a good match might be a dud. It's true. Sometimes you might have a great concept, great thumbnail, and you think you've got it nailed down, and then you strike it, and nothing happens. And it's totally, you know, that's just how it is sometimes, you know? However, if you keep striking match after match after match after match, occasionally you might get a little flame from one. You might see the spark start to fly off. And then if you keep at it, if you really focus and refine, like, you know, the match, again, you think of your video title thumbnail as a match. And as you iterate and they get higher and higher quality over time, eventually, boom, you get a fire. I think that's really what happened with Fire Emblem Was God Intended, because all of a sudden a huge influx of people came into the channel. And I was uploading stuff like it. They went back to old stuff and rewatched it, and all of a sudden, the entire channel was getting lifted up. It literally was like a fire. And I think that's the angle I really look at YouTube through right now, in terms of like keeping a consistent flame, if that makes sense. And continue to strike matches, and maybe, you know, the fire becomes a bonfire. I mean, that's what this spike is, I think. This is the Will Smith shitpost, I think, that did these numbers. I think the Will Smith shitpost did like 47K in a day. But overall, reflecting on this past year, as a package, what's the takeaway? I think the takeaway is just that I'm very proud. I'm very proud of both what I've managed to accomplish, what we've managed to accomplish as a community, and also I'm very content with just how the channel is as it is right now. If the channel just doesn't grow from this point and it just keeps trucking along like this, I really wouldn't mind. In terms of the future of the channel, I'll be transparent. I don't want to stick with Fire Emblem forever. This is a series that when I was a teenager and, late teenager, I'd say I was super into. I don't play much Fire Emblem nowadays. I really don't. And I think I'll probably reach the point where I've exhausted what I can do with the series, even, with what I have to work with. And I definitely want to pivot to other forms of content, other games. I think ultimately the spirit of my content and what I do would be successful in other games and other communities. And I definitely want to explore that and try that. So in summary, thank you everyone for this past year. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I hope this was insightful, not too rambly, but thanks everybody for watching. I really do appreciate all the support, all the love over the past year. It's been awesome. And here's to many more memories. Here's to YouTube Plays Fire Emblem finishing within the year. And here's to more content, more fun times, and more Pavise ahead. Yeah? See you around.